Today I want to talk to you about the elements of music. The elements of music are things that make up music. So oftentimes in your first music class, a professor might ask, what is music? Now, this question is intended to draw a lot of different answers because it's really hard for musicologists and music theorists to define what music is, because that means that we have to exclude something and draw a line and say, well, at this point it's no longer music. Now, this question is beyond the scope of this video, but I do want to talk about the 5 elements that we have that make up music. So if you hear something like a trumpet playing, or you hear a bird song, or you hear your favorite song, there are going to be 5 elements that connect your favorite song with the trumpet music and the bird song. And these are the 5 elements of music. So the first element of music is pitch. Pitch simply means what type of note. So in our Western system, we use the alphabet A through G. So if I'm referring to pitch, I could say that that was an A, or that was a B. Now, some pitches are really high, if you think of like a piccolo playing, or a bird song, and some pitches are actually really low, like if you think of a tuba, or if you think of a truck driving by, that would be a low pitch. So pitches can be high and low, but oftentimes they're the first thing that our ear is drawn to. Now, the second element of music is rhythm. Rhythm is oftentimes what we call the beat in music. So if you're listening to pop music or hip hop, it's generally a steady or periodic beat that we call our rhythm. Now, beats and rhythm are a little bit different, and I don't really want to go into the differentiation right now, but note that rhythm is just like our heartbeat. So if you feel your pulse, you can feel that your heartbeat's around 70 beats per minute. Well, just like that, in music, we track our beat or our pulse by minutes. So we can have something like 70 BPM, or 70 beats per minute, or 100 BPM, or beats per minute. And that just means that there's 100 beats or pulses that are steady that make up our rhythm. Our third element is timbre. Now, timbre is a little bit more challenging to discuss, but timbre as a whole means the quality of the sound. So it's the way we can hear our differentiate between our mother and our father on the phone, or it's the way we can tell the difference between a male voice and a female voice. Timbre just talks about the sound quality. So is it a very bright sound, or is it a very mellow? Now imagine you have a violin playing one single note. If they played closer to the bridge, that would be a very bright sound, and that would be us focusing on the timbre. If they played a very mellow sound or further away from the bridge, they would get a very melancholy or a warmer sound. And that's all dealing with timbre. The fourth element of music is what we call dynamics. Dynamics are how loud or how soft something is played. So if I was whispering, that would be a really quiet dynamic or a very soft dynamic. If I was shouting at the top of my lungs, let's say on a football field, and I was trying to get someone's attention, that would be a very loud dynamic. I grew up in California, and when we were in 4th grade, we studied the gold rush. Now in the gold rush, one of the things they did was they would use dynamite to blow up the side of a mountain. And typically the way dynamite works is that you would use a small amount of dynamite to get a smaller hole, and a large amount of dynamite to get a large hole or to blow off the full side of a mountain. Now dynamics are like that on a level because the more dynamics you use, the louder you're going to get. And the least amount of dynamics you're going to use, the quieter we get. So think about it like that. You still need something that causes that explosion or causes that initiation of the sound. But if you just use a little bit of energy, you're going to get a small sound or a soft sound. And if you use a lot of energy, you're going to get a large sound. So if you're singing opera, or if you're singing a very intimate song, you can think about the difference in dynamics. Now, the fifth and final element of music is the articulation. The articulation deals with the type of note you want to make. So for example, if we had a very short note, we would call that staccato. So if we played a note that was, let's say, a quarter note or a half note, but we had a staccato, we would play that a little bit shorter and we would jump off of it. That's called an articulation. Another articulation is called legato or smooth, which means that if you have multiple notes, let's say 5 or 6 notes in a row, you would connect them as much as you can. So this isn't talking about the note at a local level, it's mostly talking about notes at a global level. So if you look at a set of notes, a set of 5 or 6 notes, you could say, let's play those really short, or let's play them really smooth, really connected. Another articulation that's common is an accent. So if you put an accent on a note, which looks kind of like that, that means that you would play that note just a little bit louder, or you'd kind of use more energy to get a greater sound. So these are the 5 elements of music, and if you hear any type of music, like a trumpet music again, or like a bird song, most often it has all 5 of these elements in it. So I encourage you to try to find a pitch or find a note that has all of these elements. Think of your favorite song and see if you can figure out what the pitch is, what the rhythm is, what the timbre of the song is, the dynamics, and what the articulation is. Oftentimes, if you try real hard, you can get 4 or at least 5, but we want to focus mainly on trying to find all of these elements of music so that we can pick out the difference between pitch and rhythm, or pick out the difference between dynamics and articulation. And that'll ultimately help us become a little bit better with our ear, what we call oral skills, so that we can hear music and we can start to figure out, oh, well, that was an A, or oh, that was a quarter note, so that ultimately you can become a better musician and you'll be more educated when you come to discuss music with your friends and your family, and maybe one day you'll even be teaching music. So that was our discussion of elements of music. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.